What's up, Super Players? It's your homie C-Rod, and in today's video, not only am I going to give you the meta with the newest set, Supreme Rivalry, coming out in Dragon Ball Super card game, I'm also going to give you the price of the deck and why I think that deck is going to be one of the best decks in the game. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so first up on the list is everybody's blonde-headed girl, or should I say blue-headed girl, launch. Alright, so this deck, if you are on a budget, it's gonna go around $500 to $600 to get the most optimal deck. If you are really putting your hard-earned money into this deck could reach over $1,000. But for the most part, this deck is extremely powerful because it utilizes the Piccolo Juniors that are able to burn damage your opponent, and on top of that, with the Alliance ability, you're able to draw a lot. And this deck utilizes a lot of comboing cards, so you're going to be able to flip back and forth between the launches. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for this aggro, super burn damagey type of deck in the meta. Alright, of course I have to go over the new Supreme Rivalry leaders that are going to be up there in the meta, and without a doubt, Gohan is going to be the best blue leader coming out from the new set. And do not underestimate this guy, because this guy is able to utilize the energy manipulation, and on top of that, spam out a bunch of vanilla cards that get a power boost and finish off the game with your triple strike Super Saiyan 2 Gohan that not only does 2 triple strikes in one turn, but is also able to board wipe the field. Okay, if you want to build this deck, it's roughly going to cost $500 to $600 at the moment as of this date to utilize the best cards that you can. Some of the expensive cards in this deck are obviously the SS2 Gohan, and obviously the Senzu Beans, and all these essential blue cards that you're gonna need. So definitely be ready for Gohan to strike you in the face. It's no question that this guy isn't going away. Just like how you try to get rid of a cockroach, Mecha Frieza keeps coming back to terrorize you in your sleep. Now this guy is a $1,100 type of deck if you want to build it very meta like. Obviously, Mecha Frieza got an errata, it got a new remake, and this guy is extremely powerful because you're able to utilize extra cards for free almost, or be able to use them very cheap like by paying less energies with the Mecha Frieza ability. Now, some of the most expensive cards that come in this deck are obviously the Mecha Frieza promo card that is kind of like a topo that stops your opponent from doing multiple attacks that turn. That card right there is around $70 to $60 at the moment, and that card is a must in this Mecha Frieza deck if you're trying to build it the best that it can be. And obviously you also have Bergamos in here, Bezos in here, the Universe 9 Assemble extra card in here. This deck is just a very defensive, counter-ish, extra card spammy type of deck that you want to be prepared for if you are getting yourself into Dragon Ball Super card game. King Piccolo is a deck that's gonna be costing roughly $400 to $500. Why? Well, because it utilizes Violent Rays. Of course, the secret rare costs over $100 on its own, and the one that usually people play is the Supreme Kai of Time, having the King Piccolo, the new ruler, which is also a very expensive card for good reason. It comes out for free and it deals double strike damage, and it's a 20k power attacking card, and you definitely want to utilize the flipping back and forth your life ability of your leader to be able to swarm all the King Piccolo Jr. minions to the field and kill your opponent. We can't talk about Dragon Ball Super card game without mentioning the king of all Saiyans, King Vegeta. This is the new leader from Supreme Rivalry, and this red monster is here to destroy your opponent and destroy your wallet, because this deck, if you want to build it the most optimal way and get all the promotional cards necessary to abuse this deck is going for around $800. Give or take, depending on how the cards fluctuate, of course. But this deck is extremely powerful because the leader searches for Saiyan cards. It deals instant crit damage to your opponent by swarming the little baby Raditz and Vegeta and Goku and Broly, which is pretty darn awesome in my opinion. And you're going to be able to bring out the fully grown up version of each one of those characters onto your side of the field to kill your opponent. This deck utilizes some of the best extra cards like Violent Rays, and of course the new extra card with King Vegeta on it that is able to stop multiple attacks for the turn. This is gonna be the deck that you want to build if you are Saiyan fans, and this is gonna be the deck you want to build around with the new meta coming around. Everybody rejoice! Rejoice, because I bring you a deck that could be potentially one of the strongest meta decks, and it's very budget compared to the other decks. If you want to build the Machika Bora deck, which utilizes the new revamped Wish engine and Wish mechanic, you're gonna be looking at a deck that costs around $380 to $400. That's, of course, depending on the secret rare. So the secret rare definitely does influence the prices of these decks. But for the most part, Machika Bora is a relatively cheaper meta deck, and it's going to be stealing your opponent's cards away because that's what the leader does. It's able to steal your opponent's cards away, and on top of that, you're going to be able to bring Shroom and Salsa out that are going to be able to warp cards away from your opponent's hand, field, drop area, and then you're going to finish the job with Machika Bora that brings back to life your opponent's battle cards in the warp onto your side of the field, and then you're able to just obliterate your opponent by wishing the triple attack ability with the wish mechanic on your leader. Now we're going to be talking about the Evil Shadow Dragons and the Shin Shenron deck. Now this Shin Shenron deck is going to be in the meta for a long time. Bandai keeps supporting the Shadow Dragons, and this deck is going to cost roughly $800 to $900 depending on the secret rare that you add. Now, what you gotta know about this deck is that the promos are what make the deck extremely powerful. You definitely want to get yourself the promotional Shin Shenron that's able to triple strike your opponent per game, and of course the Shin Shenron that's able to gain the ability of all your Shadow Dragons that are in the drop. That right there, utilized with every other Shadow Dragon, like the super rare Shadow Dragons, is gonna make Shin Shenron one of those decks that is gonna finish the job, and you want to be prepared because this deck is here to stay in the meta. Alright, so we have Vegeta and Trunks fusion into the meta Vegex. Now, this is a deck that costs roughly $600 to $700, and it's extremely powerful because it utilizes Overwhelm. Since the leader is able to just mill 5 cards every single time, and of course swarm the field for free with the targets like the Trunks and the Supreme Kai, you're going to be able to outpressure your opponent. And of course, we have the promotional Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and we can't forget about Gogeta that is going to be utilized at its prime in this deck. So you do not want to miss out on the Vegex hype because it's going to be meta for a long time. Alright, so now let's talk about the Dark Broly deck. This deck has been meta ever since it came out, and to be honest, this is a very expensive deck. It's costing honestly like around $1,000 to build it at its prime. One of the most expensive cards in this deck is the promotional Mass Saiyan that allows you to only take 1 damage instead of taking a quadruple strike or something like that. That card right there is costing around $60, $70, $80 around that price point. And not only that, it does utilize the Migra awesome super rare that's able to warp cards away and warp cards from your opponent's hand. And of course, all the Dark Broly cards to swarm onto the field and just beat down your opponent with 30k battle cards that honestly come out for free. So that is one of the strongest decks that you should always get scared of when you come across. Some honorable mentions that didn't make the list that could potentially be meta. Obviously, Red Broly is extremely powerful. Green Gotenks is extremely powerful. Vegeta with the restanding abilities is an amazing leader. Majin Vegeta with the turn 2 kill is also able to kill. Maybe even Baby with all the negates. Honestly, the meta is very diverse in this game. Sometimes you do not expect the winner deck to be the winner deck. The cards that made it on the list were on this list because for a fact they're going to be on the top tables. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave me a like, subscribe, and leave me a comment in the comment section below what you guys thought about this list, or obviously let me know your list. And like we always say, y'all stay super.
We stay super. Super players for life. We stay super. Super players, alright. We stay super.